All right, note 6.2, we're doing more of complex fractions, so it's really just a review of 6.1. So a complex fraction, remember, is just a fraction that has fractions on top and fractions on bottom. So what we do to simplify a complex fraction is we want to get rid of those fractions on top and fractions on bottom. So in order to do that, we're going to find the LCD of the fractions on top and bottom, and then we'll multiply every term by that LCD. So if you look at your first fraction, it's 1 over k minus 2. I cannot factor k minus 2, so I'm going to bring it down to my LCD. Looking at your second fraction on bottom, k squared over k minus 2, I already have a k minus 2, so I don't need to bring it down. So I'm going to multiply everything by k minus 2. Okay, so now notice that nothing cancels on this first term because we don't have a fraction, so we're distributing the k. So that's k squared minus 2k. Bring down your plus sign. Notice the k minus 2's cancel, so you have left a 1. You have to put that 1 there. Denominator, k minus 2's cancel. We're left with k squared. And then bring your plus sign down. And you have k minus 2 times 1, which would be k minus 2. Okay, so once we've got rid of the fractions, then we need to look and see if we can factor the top and the bottom. So 3 terms in the top, we would have to do sum and product. So sum would be negative 2, product would be positive 1. So that would be negative 1 and negative 1. So k minus 1 and k minus 1. Denominator, sum would be 1, product would be negative 2. So that would be k plus 2 and k minus 1. Alright, notice now the k minus 1's cancel out. So we're left with k minus 1 on top and then k plus 2 on bottom. You're not able to cancel the k's out because k minus 1 is not the same thing as k plus 2. So that would be your answer. Okay, looking at 2, we need to find the LCD. So I'm bringing down the x, bringing down the y from the first denominator, xy. On the second one, we have y squared, which means we have 2 y's. We already have 1, so we need to bring another one down. Then we have x times y. We already have an x, so bring another one down, and we already have a y. Then we have an x times a y times a y. We already have 2 y's, we already have an x, so we don't bring anything down from that last one. So then when you're multiplying all of that together, you will have x squared, y squared. Okay, so we're going to multiply everything by x squared, y squared. Okay, so going through, we have an x squared, y squared, and an xy on bottom. So one of those x's will cancel, one of those y's will cancel. So we'll just have left an xy. And then bring down your minus. The y squareds cancel, and you just have an x squared left. Looking at the denominator, x squareds cancel and one of the y's. So that's going to be just a y. And then x, one of the x's will cancel, and then your y squareds will cancel. So you'll just have minus x. Okay, so at the very end, we need to check and see if we can factor. So notice the top, they have a GCF of x. So when I take an x out, I'm left with y minus x. And then we have y minus x on the bottom. So notice those cancel because those are the same, and you're just left with x. Alright, let's take a look at 3. Okay, we have to, in order to find the LCD, we have to factor everything. So we'll have to factor this trinomial. Sum is 4, product is 3. So that would be x plus 3 and x plus 1. So I'll bring everything down from the first denominator. Looking at the bottom, we have an x plus 3 in the denominator, but notice we already have one, and then we have an x plus 1, we already have one of those. So the LCD is x plus 3 times x plus 1. When you have factored the original denominator, you need to go ahead and write the factors instead of that trinomial, because that will help you with canceling out. So if you factor it, that's what you need to write. So on the top, notice both of them cancel. You're left with 2x on top. X plus 3 cancels. So you're left with 4 times x plus 1. So when you distribute, that's 4x plus 4. Bring down your plus sign. The x plus 1's cancel. You need to distribute the 2. So that's 2x plus 6. You need to combine your like terms on the bottom, so combine your x's to get 6x, and then 6 and 4 will add to 10. Okay, so then notice your denominator, we can factor a 2 out of that. So when you take a 2 out, you're left with 3x plus 5. And then these 2's cancel out, because that 2's by itself. You're just left with x over 3x plus 5. We can't cancel the x's because we have a 3x plus 5. We're adding something to it. So that would be your answer. Okay, last one. So remember to find the LCD, you have to factor everything. So we can factor x squared minus 4, that's difference of squares. So x plus 2, x minus 2. So bring both of those down. Then the second denominator, we have an x plus 2. We already have that. Notice this denominator, we can factor a 2 out of that. You always have to factor in order to find your LCD. So notice we don't have a 2 by itself in the LCD, so I need to bring that down. And I already have an x plus 2. You write the factor form. Okay, so notice the x plus 2, x minus 2 cancels out, so you're left with a 2 on top. The x plus 2 cancels, you're left with x minus 2 times 4. Go ahead and multiply these to get 8, and then distribute the 8. So you should get 8x minus 16. Oh, my bad. Let's go back. That's a 3x on top. Sorry. So I wrote a 1 there instead of a 3x. Okay, so then looking at the last one, the 2's cancel, x plus 2 cancels. I need to distribute the 2 to the x minus 2. So plus 2x minus 4. Okay, so I need to combine like terms on the bottom. I can combine the x's to get 10x. And then the negative 16 and negative 4 would be negative 20. So that would be 3x. And then notice they have a 10 in common in the denominator, the GCF, and that would be x minus 2. Okay, I messed up again. My bad. This was a 2 times a 3x. That should be 6x on top. Okay, so from here I'm reducing the 6 and 10. That's going to be 3 over 5. So that's 3x over 5 times x minus 2. And that would be my answer. Okay, so this was simplifying complex fractions. So in order to get rid of those fractions on top and fractions on bottom, you're finding the LCD and multiplying everything by it.